Star Wars Episode 6 Return of the Jedi turns 40 years old this month, so I thought that it would be a good time for me to go back and rewatch it for, I don't know, the 50th time in my life. I'm probably exaggerating a little bit, but not by much. I've seen this movie a lot, but here are the thoughts that I wrote down while I was watching it this time. I love the build-up to Jabba the Hutt, yeah, because he did not appear in A New Hope. He didn't. He's talked about in that movie and in Empire Strikes Back, and now we finally get to see him and how even in this movie, how frightened both C-3PO and R2-D2 are as they are going up to Jabba's palace. I also love the design of Jabba the Hutt. That suit puppet thing looks like a living, breathing creature. Alright, the song scene in Jabba's palace, I grew up with the special edition song, you know, with the CGI, like that whole thing. But I thought, you know, maybe I went on YouTube, I found the original version of it, and I gotta say, the original version is just a lot better. It's not a ridiculous song piece performance going on. It's some, like, you know, nice atmospheric background music in a sleazy gangster's hideout where a bunch of dangerous people are hanging out. It makes so much more sense. It's not Jabba going, "Hey everybody, I got this band here, everybody shut up and watch them do their thing." It's, yeah, you're the band, you're playing for tonight, keep the atmosphere up, don't do anything that I don't like, or I will feed you to my Rancor. And I think it just works a lot better. Han reuniting with Leia, it's a great moment. And then especially Han reuniting with Chewbacca. I love it. I love Chewie just scooping him up and petting him like he's a dog, and considering how long Wookiees live, it might be pretty comparable. Luke's intro, absolutely badass. He is so calm and collected, much more confident than when we saw him in certainly A New Hope, but even in Empire. This is a Jedi Knight. Now, I still don't know how exactly I feel about him force choking the Gamorrean guards, but I really like seeing him completely successfully do the Jedi mind trick on Bib Fortuna, which previously had only been a skill that we'd seen Obi-Wan use in A New Hope. It's a great demonstration of his newfound mastery over the Force. The Rancor is still intimidating to this day. It's shot very well, and the creature design looks big, imposing, and threatening. And then the Rancor Keeper sobbing at the Rancor's death is both hilarious and also builds a lot on this world and just makes it feel so much more lived in and real that, like, yeah, there would be a Rancor Keeper for the big monster in Jabba's pit. And yeah, he formed a big attachment to, like, alright, not something that most creators would think of when if they were making this movie, but someone did, and I'm glad they did. It's a great inclusion. Now, I wish the CG making the Sarlacc beak and some of the tentacles was polished and looked a bit better and not from the late 90s, but I do kind of like their inclusions. Of course, I'm biased, that's what I grew up with, that's how the Sarlacc always looked to me, but I do think that it is a nice addition. I think that the escape from the Sarlacc Pit is my favorite large ground fight scene in the trilogy. Maybe the whole franchise. It's just so chaotic and fun, with great action-packed moments for our heroes and genuinely funny moments, especially when Lando is freaking out about being grabbed by the Sarlacc, but even more about mostly blind Han aiming to shoot him free. Billy D. Williams' performance in that moment is hysterical. Everyone had a moment to shine, and Jabba's barge exploding is so satisfying to watch. Even though we had only first seen the barge 7 minutes ago, it still felt triumphant and satisfying, which shows how much great storytelling is going on. Catching up with Yoda, who's commiserating his old age, I can almost see him thinking about his youth in the High Republic and even the Clone Wars as he stares off for a moment before joking to Luke that he won't look so good when he reaches 900, which, yeah, nobody else will. I did wonder this watch through what made Han want to volunteer for the ground mission instead of the space run on the Death Star. I know he says the space run is dangerous, but so is the ground mission that he leads, and he's usually known for being a great pilot, so I just wonder what his character motivation is in that moment. I know, obviously, from the writing perspective, they're trying to keep all the main characters together, but just interesting. I'm very curious who the two pale, strangely dressed men are in the Emperor's chamber when he tells Vader to hide the fleet. I hope that we get to see one of their stories in the upcoming Return of the Jedi Certain Point of View book, because who are they? What are they doing on the Death Star talking to the Emperor in his chambers? Why? Who are they? The middle of the film, from when Luke leaves Dagobah to basically when he goes to speak to Vader on Endor. Even though I like the speeder chase sequence, but honestly, it's pretty slow, and I was pretty passive while watching it. I wasn't feeling as gripped. I feel things begin to pick up again when the Emperor reveals that it's all part of his plan for the rebels to attack so they can be crushed, and then things do keep amping up again until the Ewoks begin their ambush to free Han, Leia, and the others, and then I am fully back in. The Death Star being operational, R2-D2 getting shot, lingering on an Ewok, discovering that their friend is dead on the battlefield, and then watching fighter after fighter get blasted from the sky all gives a wonderfully executed sense of dread. It really seems like our heroes maybe can't triumph. Maybe they won't win the day. I totally understand Luke's frustration and him grabbing his lightsaber to strike the unarmed, taunting Emperor, and Vader protecting him as the Emperor sits between their two crossed blades and laughs as his plan comes to fruition is wonderful. I love it. Then, I love seeing the Ewoks and Chewbacca start to reverse the tide of the ground battle. The reversal of Han and Leia's "I love you, I know" from Empire is great, and the lightsaber battle between Luke and Vader, chef's kiss. Oh, the inclusion of Vader saying no, no, as he picks up the Emperor, just Jesus. Talk about how to completely butcher, fumble, ruin, destroy such a great moment. This is the culmination of the trilogy of movies, and then the original 6 saga of movies, and that's not even the way it originally was. It didn't have him going, no, no, in the original version, and it was added in, and it's a complete, it's so bad. It's so bad. It's almost so bad that it's funny, but it's not the moment that I want to see something so bad that it's funny. It should be a great payoff, and it's completely undermined, and I don't understand why it was included in the first place. And honestly, if there was one special edition change that I would want completely undone, I could only choose one, it would be this, because it's just such a buzzkill. It completely lets the air out of the bag. It's just terrible. It's just terrible. Everything else about the finale, though, is wonderful. Luke dragging Vader off the Death Star, Vader looking at his son with his own eyes, Luke burning his father's body on Endor alone while the rest of the planet celebrates the destruction of the Death Star, moving to the other worlds from the saga as they celebrate as well, is a grand addition to the finale. I even think it's a good chuckle, kind of funny, that we have a Gungan in the background shouting, "We saw free!" Like, that's something that it's like, okay, that's, like, you know what? A celebratory moment, give me something goofy, give me something funny. Even if you think that it's so bad, I think it's so bad that it's good. Maybe I just like it because I think that it's funny that they put it in the first place, but that's a moment where you could add something in. But I think that, aside from the no, they really stick the landing. The last change that I guess I should talk about, but I'm really not sure about how I feel, is Hayden Christensen being swapped in to be Anakin's Force Ghost next to Obi-Wan and Yoda. I understand both sides of the debate as to whether or not that should have happened. And you know what? I think it's weird in general that he gets to be a Force Ghost. He committed horrendous crimes for most of his life, and he didn't even study how to become a Force Ghost like Obi-Wan and Yoda did, so that's why they're able to be Force Ghosts, and he just gets to? I don't know. weird in general. Overall, rewatching this movie, was really digging the Jabba's Palace section, and then I was really digging the final battle. Some of the stuff in the middle kind of lost its momentum. There were great exchanges and moments, especially the dialogue between Luke and Vader, some of the talking between Luke and Leia, but I felt myself kind of going glossy-eyed in the middle there. But otherwise, I do think that Return of the Jedi is a good to great film, somewhere in that realm. Obviously, it doesn't rise to the heights of A New Hope or Empire Strikes Back, but a good finale, a great finale to the trilogy, even if it's only a good film. That'll be my stance on it. But thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think of this now 40-year-old conclusion to the original trilogy down in the comments below. And if you want to check out some other Star Wars commentary or thoughts that I've had, I've got a whole playlist right here, or maybe this video might pique your interest, I don't know. But thank you so much for watching, and have a good week.